With the 35th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Cleveland Browns select Nick Chubb, running back, Georgia.
The signing of Nick Chubb by the Houston Texans happened in early June. And since then, much has been said, but almost nothing about how he will actually fit into the team's offensive system, especially when analyzing the direct connection with Stroud and the complementarity with Joe Mixon, who create an offensive dynamic that goes beyond the obvious. The discussion does not revolve around Chubb's fame or career, but rather his tactical role, his execution on the field, and how his fit could be the missing piece in the Texans' puzzle. Why did Stroud show so much excitement? What does Mixon gain or lose from this? And how does the offensive system adapt to a veteran who still commands respect, even after an injury? What the video reveals goes far beyond statistics or expectations. Here we show what no one said, the real impact of Chubb within Houston's offensive plan. When the signing of Nick Chubb was made official by the Houston Texans, it was not just about filling a spot on the roster. It was, in practice, the addition of a piece with specific tactical potential for an offensive system in development, a system that revolves around a young and rising quarterback like Stroud, and a backfield already filled with the physical and versatile talent of Joe Mixon. Chubb's value, contrary to what many might think, is not in the raw numbers, but rather in the situational impact he offers, the precision of his decisions between the tackles, and the stability his experience can bring to Houston's offensive system. Watching Nick Chubb's film, even after the serious knee injury that kept him out for part of last season, what stands out is how he still maintains a rare kind of patience in the backfield. In formations with a single running back and pre-snap motion, his sense of timing to wait for the tight end and guard blocks to set is a valuable asset, especially in short yardage situations where every second counts. In simulated plays and real situations observed in 8 games last season, the average of 3.3 yards per attempt may seem modest, but in specific scenarios like 4th down and short distance, he converted 4 runs into 8 yards and 1 touchdown, signaling his effectiveness as a finisher. It is exactly this kind of contribution that Houston's offensive coach seems to be looking for with Chubb, someone who can share the physical responsibility with Joe Mixon and relieve pressure from quarterback Stroud, not only in the running game, but especially in defensive reads during play-action situations. At various moments during on-field training at the Texans' practice facility, the quarterback emphasized how Chubb's presence brings more flexibility to the offense, whether to control the time of possession or to open up space for the passing game, since opposing defenses start to worry about multiple threats downfield. Nick Chubb no longer has the same acceleration as before. This is evident both in the video and in the data. His explosive gain has dropped, and he clearly avoids more aggressive cuts in open field. However, when used under center in traditional formations, his production still stands out. In 56 runs under center, he maintained his physical identity, creating more predictable and efficient blocking scenarios. This complements perfectly the more versatile approach of Joe Mixon, who plays more frequently in shotgun formations and contributes significantly to the passing game. This match of styles, with Chubb as the hammer and Mixon as the Swiss Army knife, allows the coach to vary concepts of inside zone and gap schemes, adjusting blocks according to the need. In this system, Nick Chubb shines especially as a red zone specialist. In 2024, even with reduced volume, he scored 3 touchdowns in 16 runs inside the red zone, maintaining an average of 2.1 yards per attempt. In tactical simulations, he even recorded 16 touchdowns in short yardage situations throughout the season, a very high performance for a second running back. Stroud, in turn, made it clear during interviews that his confidence in the veteran goes beyond the statistics. In his speech, you can notice the respect for Chubb's career, even mentioning that he admired him since college days. This type of relationship may not show up on the box score, but it directly influences locker room chemistry and on-field execution. Having a quiet, focused, and efficient veteran by his side who does not demand the spotlight, but delivers results, is something rare and precious for a quarterback still in the process of maturing. From the depth chart perspective, Chubb currently holds the 2nd spot on the Texans' depth chart, ahead of Dameon Pierce, Woody Marks, and Dare Ogunbowale. This choice is no accident. It reflects confidence in his gap reading, his efficiency as a ball carrier in critical situations, and especially his ability to protect the quarterback. This is particularly visible on film. Even with reduced mobility, his base is solid, and he positions himself well in blitz blocking, resulting in more time for Stroud to work his progressions. Now, if we think about the tactical fit, his most relevant contribution may be in 2 running back packages or rotations that allow Mixon to stay fresh for crucial moments. The use of Nick Chubb, together with Joe Mixon, creates offensive variations that can confuse defenses, especially when the Texans alternate between runs between the tackles and quick passes to the flat, with motions that mask the play's intent. In games where the Texans are ahead on the scoreboard, Chubb's presence can allow the team to run down the clock with safe runs, gaining enough yards to maintain possession without risking the offense's integrity. Even with recent physical limitations, his value as a mentor to younger players is undeniable. Woody Marks, for example, is a promising name on the roster, with good receiving ability and lateral explosiveness. But he still needs to learn the details of professional play, such as off-ball positioning, pass protection, and read adjustments, areas that Chubb naturally masters. Nick Chubb's contract, structured for 1 year with performance incentives, reflects this mindset well. It is a strategic bet, low financial risk, but with high potential for situational return. The film analysis confirms this profile. Chubb is no longer at his peak, but he still makes good decisions, maintains excellent vision of inside gaps, and remains reliable in pressure situations. It is exactly this type of player who fits on a team aiming for the playoffs and needing experience, consistency, and presence in decisive moments. Beyond his direct impact on the running game, Nick Chubb's presence also influences how the Texans' offensive line performs on the field. Players like Cam Robinson, Juice Scruggs, and Titus Howard, who make up the core of the line, benefit from a running back who understands how to manipulate blocks with timing and precision. The film reveals that Chubb knows how to slow down and accelerate with surgical timing, which allows the guards and center to complete their blocking levers with less pressure. This reduces holding penalties and improves the conversion rate on first down plays. A running back who works with the success of the block instead of attacking impulsively is a silent ally for any offensive line seeking consistency. Nick Chubb also strengthens one of the Texans' most fragile points in recent years, the conversion of short third downs. Analyzing the decisive plays from last season, it is noticeable that many offensive drives stalled due to the lack of a running back who could gain those tough 2 yards with contact right at the line of scrimmage. Chubb, even with reduced explosiveness, continues to be that type of player. His efficiency in tight situations, especially when the opponent knows a run is coming, remains high. He finds gaps where there is no space, and even without breaking big runs, manages to keep the chains moving. In a league where the margin between victory and defeat can come down to a single 3rd and 2, this makes a real difference on the scoreboard. The combination of Nick Chubb and Joe Mixon also demands tactical respect from opposing defensive coordinators. With Mixon posing a threat in passing routes and outside zone runs, and Chubb pressing between the tackles, the Texans' offensive coordinator gains freedom to shuffle looks and create mismatches. Formations with both in the backfield can cause hesitation in the pre-snap reads of opposing linebackers, which directly helps open up space in play-action plays and crossing routes in the middle of the field. This synergy forces defenses to become more static before the snap, avoiding excessive disguises, which makes it easier for C.J. Stroud to read the play, a factor that can further accelerate his development as an offensive leader. Even if the season progresses with Nick Chubb's workload carefully managed, his mere presence on the roster pushes everyone around him to raise their standards. From the locker room to the huddle, he carries the credibility of someone who has been through the league's toughest battles. It is no longer about the number of carries or accumulated yards. It is about knowing when and how to impact the game. And in this regard, few understand the right moment to step up better than he does. By bringing in Chubb, the Texans were not just looking for yards. They sought influence, tactical intelligence, and significant impact. In a system where the pieces need to complement each other like gears, having this type of player can be what separates a good team from one that truly competes in the playoffs. Thank you for watching, and see you soon.